The fuck is wrong with me? I just coughed and it went on my chin.
That's gross. Nice, dude.
I'm a frat boy.
What frat are you in?
In
Pi Sigma Epsilon.
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 Pag Sigma Epsilon.
Pi. Sigma. Epsilon.
Epsilon. Pi Sigma Epsilon.
Your business
I'm a frat boy. Dude, free beers? Wait, that's your frat?
Yeah, PSE.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another story time because you guys love those stories or those videos. Today I'm doing a story time about my ex-boyfriend and his best friend. Not the boyfriend that I have right now. Boyfriend, come here. Come here. You can't! Just want to clarify and put this out there. It's not my current boyfriend. Not my current boyfriend, just so you know. These are my, why are you wearing my glasses, bitch? This is not my current boyfriend, well, this is my current boyfriend.
Oh, thank God.
So this story is about my ex-boyfriend and his best friend because I found out that his best friend actually loved me.
Oh, I love you too.
I'm not gonna give you guys a time span because then if you're from my hometown, you're gonna figure out real quick who it is. But I am Christian, as many of you guys know. So one summer, me and my two best friends, Amelia and Elvira, decided to go to a Jesus camp. And that sounds really funny, but it's actually really, really fun to go to those camps because you meet like a lot of people that have the same like faith and religion as you, and it's just like a lot of fun. Plus, you get to hang out with like a bunch of cool people and you get to know a lot of people. The camp was supposed to be in the summertime for a couple of weeks, so like that winter before, we started having like sleepovers at churches, and we started having like just like meetings at churches to get to know everyone. And I want to say we were like 50 something kids that were in this Jesus camp. So when we first started going to the meetings, like the first meeting we ever went to, me and my two best friends, we obviously didn't know like anyone, so we slid into the DMs of this fucking meeting. We find out that like the hottest guy in my hometown was gonna be in the same Jesus camp as me. I'm sorry, babe. We go in there and I have like never met him before, but like everyone's always like talked about him really highly. And whenever I would hear his name pop up in any conversation, everyone would be like, oh my god, he's so hot. And he watches all my videos, so he's gonna know exactly who he is, and he's gonna be like sitting there watching the video and be like, yo, like... Anyway, so the first meeting that we ever went to, we saw him there and I had the intentions of like introducing myself and just like kind of getting to know him a little bit better because I didn't know him before. And immediately I was like, yo, I want this guy. Like I was like, I need him. He's gonna be my boyfriend. Boom, it's then and done. I'm so fucking annoying. We're gonna call that guy Jason. Okay, so the first meeting we ever went to, I introduced myself to Jason and, you know, like we exchanged numbers, whatever. We became like friends and I could tell that he was like into me, I was into him, so it was like, we kind of like immediately clicked. Then we had like meetings after that, which were like sleepovers at churches and stuff like that, and me and Jason became like really, really close, and we started like flirting a lot, and we started texting a lot, and like all this shit went down. So I like already had my eyes on the prize, if that makes any sense. So one day at one of these little sleepovers, I was sitting in church, and it was like I can't even remember what we did, but I was sitting in church, and this guy walked up to me that I've never seen before. In any of the meetings that I've been to, I had never seen this guy before. And he walked up to me and he sat down next to me, you know, I like didn't think of it that much. And he was like, yo, like, hi, my name is, Peter, my name is Peter, and he, like, you know, like, introduced himself to me, and I was like, hey, I'm Sascha, like, nice to meet you, whatever, I haven't seen you here before, and he was like, oh, yeah, my friends made a bet with me that I wouldn't dare talking to you, and I, like, immediately thought that was so weird. I was like, oh, well, like, here you are, I guess, like, that's pretty weird to open the sentence with, but okay. Like, I've never talked to you before, but you say that? Okay, like, it's true. I was, like, kind of weirded out at first, but then he, like, sat next to me in church, and he, like, after a couple of minutes got really comfortable with me and, like, started making all these jokes and, like, was just, like, really funny. Like, Peter was such a funny guy, and I usually, like, I'm a very bubbly and, like, laughy person. Like, I can laugh at a lot of things, but he was so funny. I remember the first time I ever met him, he was, like, I was, like, dying on the floor laughing. Like, he is such a funny guy. I still know him. He is so funny, and just, like, I don't know, he makes me laugh so hard, like harder than anyone else. A couple of hours later, we were still on this like sleepover thing. I find out that Peter and Jason were friends. Like, they had became friends over the time of us meeting, like, this little group of people. So I was like, okay, it's chill. So I can hang out with, like, the guy that I really like, that is, like, really funny and everything. And then I can hang out with my crush, like, Jason. So we started hanging out and, like, you know, like, us and then my two best friends. So we started hanging, like, a lot. And everything was chill, you know. I was still, like, flirting with Jason. And we were kind of, like, into each other and whatever. And New Year's came around. Me and Peter were still hanging, and we actually became really, really close, like, outside of this church thing. So the spring before we were going to this camp, like the Jesus camp, me and Peter started hanging out, like, so much, like, after school, every single weekend, all the time. We would always hang out, me and Emilia and Elvira and Peter, but I would always hang out with Peter alone, and, like, he was just, like, the most chill guy ever. So funny. I really, really liked him, like, as a friend. And usually, I don't know, you can kind of tell, at least when somebody's, like, interested in you, and I didn't get that at all from Peter. Like, I just, like, really, really thought that he was, like, my friend and everything, but girl, was I wrong. I asked him one day, I was like, oh, so, like, you're friends with Jason, right? And he was like, oh, yeah, why? And I was like, well, like, me and him kind of, like each other, and I don't know if it's going somewhere, and, like, he got really weird about it, but I just, like, kind of figured it was because, like, he was friends with Jason and everything, friends with me. He didn't want to be the middleman or something. So he got really weirded out, and he was like, oh, yeah, like, he, like, talks about you too. And I was like, oh my god, really? Like, what is he saying about me? And he was just like, yeah, he thinks, like, you're hot and, like, whatever. So I immediately got so excited. And I mean, now, looking, like, in hindsight, now I'm, like, looking back at it and being like, I was such a bitch, how did I not take the hints, girl? So finally, this Jesus camp rolls around, like, the actual camp, which was of 2 weeks. I need a cough. We lived in, like, dorms. It was at a college when all the students were out. So we lived in, like, dorms, and I lived with Emilia and Elvira, and girl, I have so many fucking stories from that camp. If you want another video of that, let me know. Like, I did some crazy shit at that camp. I almost got kicked out of Jesus camp. So I was so excited to be there because I was gonna be with, like, everyone I knew, like, my two best friends. I was gonna be there with my crush. I was gonna be there with my best guy friend, Peter, right? It was so peachy keen. Me and Jason kind of got, like, really, really close throughout these 2 weeks of this camp. Like, we, you know, just got really, really close. And the closer we got, I could feel Peter was, like, getting distant from me. And I just, like, asked him about it, and he was like, oh no, like, everything's okay, just, like, not even acknowledging the question really. And I thought that was weird, but I just thought he had an off day or something. So at this point, me and Jason grew really close, and we were, like, basically a couple. But I got, like, sudden clues from Peter's other friends that he liked me because we played, like, a game of, like, truth and dare and stuff like that, and they would always be like, you should kiss Sasha, you should kiss Sasha, and I would always just be like, dude, this is so weird, we're, like, friends, like, you know. Oh my god, I was such a bitch. So after this camp ended, I didn't really talk to Peter that much anymore. He really didn't want to hang out with me, which I thought was really weird because we had been so close up to the point of me and Jason dating. Like, a month after the camp ended, like, shit had gone down at camp. It was crazy. You guys need to hear those stories because holy shit. But I just, like, thought that Peter was, like, acting weird, and I didn't really think about it because you know, me and Jason were really close. We were, like, basically girlfriend boyfriend at that time, so I, like, didn't really think about it that much. I was, like, kind of sad that we weren't really hanging out anymore, but at the same time I had a boyfriend, like, a new boyfriend that I was really into, and just, like, you know, all these things, and my friends were, like, really excited for me, and just, you know, we really just didn't think about it that much. So, like, a month after the camp ended, we had, like, a reunion so that we just, like, you know, have a little sleepover and just, like, kind of, like, catch up, because we had known, like, all of those people. They became, like, family to me. And so we were gonna gather at a church in town and just kind of, like, chill, if that makes any sense. Like, reunion, play games, like, shit like that. So much fun. So we get there, and I forgot to mention before I started this video, but Jason had just broken up with his ex-girlfriend at the time, and I had just broken up with my ex-boyfriend at the time, which also my ex knows Jason, but that's a whole different story, girl. But anyway, at this reunion, I get there, and that is, like, the first time in a month that I had seen Peter. And we hadn't really been, like, texting that much. He was really distant from me, you know. He was hanging out with his other friends basically. So I meet him there and I'm like so excited because I haven't met him in like a month, and I'm like, oh my god, like how have you been, you know, shit like that. And he was just like the most chill dude ever. He's like, Sasha, I missed you so much, we haven't seen each other in so long. Me and Jason were like, you know, still like together. We still weren't like official at the time. So we played a couple games at this reunion thing, and then we were supposed to go downtown because the church was like in the middle of town. So we were gonna go downtown to get some candy for the night because we were gonna sleep over at that church. So all of us kids ran down to the local candy store and got a bunch of candy, and then we went down to the docks, which in my hometown the docks were like where all the teenagers hang and like party and like get away with like really dumb shit and like all that kind of stuff. So we were like in the store and we were like, oh my god, should we go down there? Like, should we go down to the docks and like see what's up? Like, oh, I hate myself. We go down to the docks and we meet all of our friends there, and we're just like hanging out, having a fun time because we didn't really have like a limit or like a time period. We had to be back at church, or at least we like didn't give a fuck. So I hate myself. So we were there and I find out that Jason's newly ex-girlfriend was there. My friend that I met at the docks was like, hey, just so you know, like Amanda, like Jason's ex is here, just so you know, like, you know, giving me a heads up. And I was like, in that moment I was like, fuck. Now keep in mind, we weren't official at the time. Like, we were only, this fucking hair tie. We were only, like, we only had a thing, you know? Like, we weren't official. So I find out she's there, and I got so jealous, because I was like, fuck, like, they just broke up. What if they, like, still like each other? Like, fuck my life, fuck my life. But I didn't really think of it that much because I was like, he's probably not talking about it, like, or talking to her about it, and just like, you know, he's with me now, like, So I turn around to look for where Jason was, and I see that he's with Amanda. He's talking to Amanda, and I'm like, yay. So I'm like looking over there, I'm like, oh, got a blast. So I like walk up to them, and I'm like, hey, like sliding in like in between them and be like, hey girl. And I'm like trying to get him away from her, and I understand that they're like exes and stuff, but I was really like jealous because I'm like, he's mine now, I'm back at the bitch. I'm trying to get him to leave, and he doesn't want to leave. And that's when I was like, I got really mad because I was like, hey, he doesn't want to leave, he wants to talk to her, like, why does he want to talk to her, like, all this shit. So I decided to go back. I tell him, I'm like, Jason, I'm going back to church now. If you want to come with me, you can come with me. If not, you don't have to. He's like, oh no, I want to talk to Amanda for a little bit more. I'm like, all right. So I walked back with all my friends to church, and I was so upset and so sad. I'm like, he wants to talk to his ex. Like, the only reason you want to talk to your ex is usually because you like still care about them and whatever, because like I can say straight up, I don't give a fuck about my exes. I would not just like talk to them, if that makes any sense. Like, no shade thrown at them, I just don't really have that good of a relation with any of my exes. I ended up going home that night because I didn't want to see Jason, and I was like kind of sad because I just like felt like he still cared about her in a non-friendship way. And when I got home, I was texting Peter because he was like, hey, why'd you leave? And I'm like, well, because like Jason is talking to his ex, like Amanda was down by the docks and he didn't want to leave, and just, you know, I was really upset. And I was like, I feel like, you know, they still like care about each other, and I know they've been texting, and I know that he's been talking a lot about her. So, and I know that they just broke up, so he probably still has feelings for her. And so Peter was just like, yeah, I think so too, just like putting gasoline on the fire that was already started here. I was raging on the phone with Peter about Jason. I was so mad, and I was texting Peter the entire night about, like, I was raging, being like, yeah, like, he's such a douchebag, he doesn't want to be with me, like, he wants to be with his ex, like, he still loves his ex and everything like that. And then Peter goes, can I tell you something? And I'm like, I'm thinking that he's like talking like, yeah, like I think he's gonna tell me something that Jason said. Like, I thought he was gonna be like, yeah, like Jason told me he still loves his ex, or like, yeah, Jason like slept with his ex a week ago, or like something like that. And then he goes, I love you.
You told me this story before.
And I'm like, you picked the wrong ass time to say this, because I was so upset over Jason, and then he hits me with the I love you bomb, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm like even more mad at this point. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I was not being rational at all. Like, in hindsight, I'm like thinking now that he was really brave for telling me because, I mean, Jason was his best friend. But anyway, it's like such a weird ass time to say it. I'm like, okay, so you could have told me any day and you choose to tell me when I'm mad over Jason. Do you not agree?
No, I mean, like, I don't think there's really any easy time for a guy to do it, but he definitely picked a bad time.
He did pick a bad time. So I'm like raging on him. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why didn't you tell me this before? And he's like, well, like, Jason's my friend. Like, I didn't want to tell you. Like, I didn't know when to tell you. I'm like, how long have you been feeling like this? He's like, since I met you. I'm like, bitch, that was a year ago. Are you kidding me right now? So I felt so bad instantly because I had talked to him about Jason. I had been like sitting there and been like, yeah, do you want to hear what like me and Jason did yesterday? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I felt so bad. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. So we instantly get into an argument because I was like, why didn't you tell me? Like, does Jason know? Like, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, yeah, like he knows, everyone knows. And like, you didn't take the hints. And he was being such a little bitch. I'm sorry if you're watching this, like, no hard feelings, bro, like, I, like, love you, bye. So we get into it, this huge argument, and it ends with me being like, don't ever talk to me again. Like, I was such a bitch, but honestly, though, such a bad time. I ended up apologizing to him for being a bitch the next day, but we just kind of stopped talking after that. Like, it was just really weird, but we stopped talking. It was just too weird for it to handle life. So we get back to school and me and Jason actually get back together and we make it official. And, you know, we're girlfriend boyfriend at the time, and I would honestly though, like, Mom, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, I would sneak out of class all the time to like make out with Jason, which is like little irrational bitch. Like, are you fucking kidding me? If I could go back, I'd be like, be in school, like, you idiot. Okay. Me and Jason are going pretty good. Like, we're going pretty steady, you know, and I was working illegally at a restaurant and bar, woo, which is another story in itself, but yes, I worked illegally at a restaurant and bar, which is, you know, interesting. So one night I get a text from Jason. He's like, oh my god, like, me and the boys are having a, like, little get-together tonight, like, we want you to come, like, come after work. So I swing by after my shift, which was like at 2 a.m. because, and I go to his house and I see Peter, and Peter was there. And keep in mind, I hadn't seen Peter in months, and we ended on a kind of weird note. And immediately as I see him, he is like, oh my god, Sasha, I haven't seen you in so long. He walks up to me, he hugs me, he like, you know, he's just the bubbly Peter I always knew. And it was like, I saw him for the first time ever again, and I was just like so happy to see him. And that night, Peter was so cute to me. He was so nice to me. He was like being weird though, because he was like holding me and trying to hug me and trying to like lay next to me in like the bed that I was sitting in, which was like my boyfriend's bed. And he was doing all of this in front of my boyfriend, by the way. But he was being so sweet to me, and we're having so much fun, and I had so much more fun with Peter that night than I did with Jason, which made me kind of question everything. So that night I go home and I started texting Peter again, and we were like we were friends again, which I was so excited about that. Until me and Jason break up. Now, we broke up because of something else. That's a whole nother story, girl. But we broke up, and I then texted Peter about that. I was like, yeah, I thought you should know me and Peter broke up, or me and Jason broke up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, baby girl. Like, I'm so sorry. If you want to come over to my house, like, this weekend to make you feel better, then, like, I would totally have you. Which, looking back at it now, like, that was such a fuckboy move, oh my god. Anyway, I fell for it. So I went to Peter's house, and just expecting us to, like, hang out and shit like that, and we were actually home alone, which was another warning sign number 2, number dos. And I go there, and we're, like, having a bunch of fun. Like, you have no idea, he's such a funny dude. Like, I still just, like, think he's so funny and just, like, such a nice guy. We get there, and he is so funny, and we're down in his kitchen, we're cooking, because I love to cook and bake and stuff. And after we did our thing in the kitchen, we went up to his room, and he was like, do you want to watch a scary movie? And I was like, I see where this is going. But I saw past it because I was like, this is Peter. Like, he's not a fuckboy. Girl, was you wrong. So I was like, yeah, sure. So we put on a scary movie, and we're like sitting in the bed and stuff, and like just like sitting there as friends, and I'm like I'm being just like me. I'm like not being cute at all. Like I'm just being like, you know, like being a little douche because I'm like, this is my friend, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh my god, look at that, look at that. And all of a sudden I just like feel his like hands on me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm just like feeling him like, you know, like touching me and just like every chance he could get to like touch me and like hold me and shit like that, he would. And I was so uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, but at the same time I thought, you know, like we're friends, like he's probably doing this because he's my friend, bitch. So like that entire night he was just like trying to tickle me and trying to like hold me and like everything like that. So it ends up me being like, yeah, I have to go home, because I was like, shit, this is uncomfortable. And I had been like, yeah, you want to go downstairs, like not do this, like, you know what I mean? Because they had been like all over me and I've been like not having it. When I get home, I get a text from him saying, I still have feelings for you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, here we go again. So I'm like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, like that's cool. I don't have those feelings for you, like whatever. And he was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like that's cool, like I understand. And I felt so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just don't have those feelings for you. Like, I see you as a friend, blah, blah, blah. So I just, like, started crying. I started crying because I was like, I can never just be friends with this guy. And I can just, like, it's such a weird relationship. Like, I want to have those feelings for him because he's such a nice guy and all that stuff. So I was like, Mom, sit the fuck down. You gotta listen. A girl gotta tell you something. So I told my mom the entire story. And she was like, you know what? You should give him a chance. And I was like, what? And he's like, and she was like, yeah, I really think you should give him a chance because you guys are best friends, and maybe if you just like try, the feelings will come. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should. So I was like, hell yeah, hell yeah. So I texted Peter, I'm like, I need to see you. We need to talk. And immediately, whenever you text a guy that, he's always like, what did I do? So, but I'm like, no, it's a good thing. Like, let's meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock in town. I need to talk to you. We need to sit down face to face. And he was like, okay, okay. So it takes a couple of days because he was busy, I was busy, blah, blah, blah. But we end up meeting, and it was so fucking awkward because he thought that I was gonna be like, don't ever talk to me again, like, because I had just basically friend zoned him. But little did he know I was gonna be like, hey, I want to be your girlfriend. So I was meeting him, and I sat down with him, and I said, also, that was by the docks, like that Jason had met Amanda, which by the way, Jason was out of the picture at this point. Like I did not give a fuck about him. He ended up being like a really strange guy, like not that interesting, kind of dumb, but like anyway, he's gonna watch this video and be so mad at me. Sorry, not sorry. He ended up being a little bitch, but anyway, he was out of my life. So I sit down at the docks with Peter and I say, you know, about that thing that you told me over the phone. And he's like, yeah, like, I'm sorry I said that. And I said, no, don't be sorry. I was actually coming here to tell you that I want to try with you. I want to be your girlfriend. You know, and I was kind of excited because I was like, this could be good. I feel like this could be good for us. And he looked at me and he was like I could see he was like looking at me, and I was like so excited in that moment. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna be like girlfriend, boyfriend. I'm so excited. He's such a nice guy. He literally goes, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't like you anymore. And I just fucking died. I fucking died laughing. I literally was like, are you fucking kidding me? I literally got, like, God forbid, I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? He's like, yeah, I changed my mind. I'm like, over like the course of 3 days, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, yeah, I just don't have those feelings for you anymore. I'm like, you were in love with me for a year, and then you say you don't have feelings for me anymore. Like, are you fucking kidding me? So I was, needless to say, I was livid because he had wasted, I was like, bitch, you have officially wasted my fucking time. So I stand up and I'm like, don't ever talk to me again. Like, you've wasted my fucking time and my life and my energy. Like, bye. So, like, you played yourself. So I was so mad, and I made my mom come get me. I was like, I got in the car and she thought that we were like girlfriend boyfriend because I told her I was gonna talk to him. So she's like, how is it? And I was like, drive, don't talk to me. Oh my god, I was so mad. Until this day, I still don't talk to him. Which is like the funniest thing ever because we used to be so close, and it was just so fucking awkward after that. And he ended up being like, yeah, like, I'm so sorry, and like, I kind of want to get back to you again, like, I'm sorry, we should try again. And I was like, don't waste my time. Like, I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste mine. I'm not gonna let you waste mine. So he actually tried calling back to mama, but mama said no. Anyway, so yeah, we never, like, we talk sometimes, but it's not like we talk a lot. I mean, I'm really sad that that kind of happened, but yeah. So, okay, so this is actually kind of like a side story, but I ended up seeing him the day that I found out, like, actually, like, a couple of days after I found out I was moving to the States. I saw him at Subway, and I got mad for seeing him. I'm like, I don't want to see him, like, it just gets me in a bad mood. So I left Subway, I got my food, and I left. And he actually ended up running after me. Like, he ran out of Subway, ran up to me, and was like knocking me on the shoulder, like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in so long. I'm like, I don't want to see you, like, get out of my life. So I hugged him and everything, and I was like, hi, like, this is so weird. He's like, I'm so sorry for everything that happened between us. Like, I'm so sorry we haven't talked. I'm sorry it happened like that. I'm sorry I was a bitch. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, I'm moving to the United States of America. I'm never gonna see you again. He was like, oh, okay. Like, that's alright. And then that night, he sent me, like, the longest text of all time, apologizing for everything and telling me, like, I really love you, I'm always gonna love you, like, just this long-ass paragraph, like, fucking novel, like a graphic novel to me about how thankful he was and how much of a bitch he was, and I was like, next? No, actually not. I was like, oh, that's so sweet, whatever. Anyway, that was my story time about the time my boyfriend's best friend loved me. If you guys like these story times, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, follow me on my social medias. They're down below. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!